All right, well, welcome everybody to our July regular board meeting of Windemere Township. Thank you all for coming and welcome. And our first order of business, I will call this meeting to order and we will say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, any changes to the agenda? Hearing none, we'll move forth with the clerk's report.
Meeting minutes from the June 13th meeting. The meeting was called to order at 6:30 p.m. at Westlake City Hall by Chairman Alan Overland. The meeting opened with the Pledge of Allegiance. Present supervisors Al Overland, Heidi Cronin, Tony Bacteri, Clerk Walcher, Treasurer Horgan, Zoning Administrator Scott Beckman, Assistant to the Road Supervisor Vern Anderson, Recorder Amy Perrine. Approval of agenda. Added to old business. Town Hall Committee and request to vacate road. Motion by Bacteri to approve the agenda, second by Overland with changes. Motion carried. Clerk's report. May 9th, 2024 board meeting minutes were read by Clerk Walter. Minor corrections made. Motion by Bacteri to approve the April minutes. That should be the May minutes with corrections, right? Mm-hmm. Seconded by Overland, motion carried. Clerk Walter read special meeting minutes dated May 23rd, 2023, interviews for Township Coordinator position. Motion by Bacteri to accept the minutes, seconded by Overland, motion carried. Clerk Walter read the minutes from the public hearing for the proposed shoreland ordinance dated May 30th, 2024. Motion by Bacteri to accept the minutes, second by Overland, motion carried. Treasurer's report. Treasurer Horgan reviewed the financial reports. The total cash balance as of May 31st, 2024 was $800,234.10. Motion by Bacteri to approve the treasurer's report. Seconded by Overland, vote, motion carried. The detailed financial reports are posted on the Township website. Motion by Overland to post the abbreviated financial reports, 3 pages, on Township website, seconded by Bacteri. Cronin amended motion to have the website have all reports on the website, seconded by Overland. Vote taken, Overland aye, Cronin aye, Bacteri nay. Motion passed. Public input. Jude Steffens commented, Kip Rydberg commented, Ron Buto commented. Old business. Bacteri reported for information purposes an early pre-design process discussion with architect Melissa Graftis. Her letter detailed a proposed pre-design fee of $9,800. Supervisors presented their choices for the Town Hall steering committee. Bacteri has Vern Anderson and Tara Proctor. Overland has Mark Disterhoff and Rob Peterson. Cronin has Scott Danelski and Tim Floor. Road vacation is tabled. The petition needs to be refiled. New business. Proposed policy update. Horgan recommended a new policy for mail handling claims, payroll processing, and records retention. Motion by Overland to have all claims be submitted no later than midnight on the 1st of each month, and the claims be emailed to both the clerk and the treasurer. Seconded by Bacteri, motion carried. Brittany Stampahor was presented as the Township Coordinator. Proposal for salary and benefits were discussed. Motion by Cronin to approve annual salary of $82,500 payable semi-monthly. Annual merit increase will be considered. Flexible office hours, paid time off to be calculated based on 3 hours for sick pay and 4 hours for vacation per pay period. All state holidays off, seconded by Overland. Overland, aye. Cronin, aye. Bakhtiari, abstain. Vote 2-1, motion carried. Overland to confirm the township coordinator will report, motion by Overland to confirm the township coordinator will report to the chairman. Also, the chairman will take over the zoning department responsibility, seconded by Bakhtiari. Overland, aye. Cronin, nay.
Oh,
Should be Bakhtiari, aye. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Board of Supervisors, other. Bakhtiari reported the state auditor office contacted the township requesting information on road contracts for the 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024 to date. Motion by Bakhtiari that the chairman contact Attorney Curry to assist and advise in responding to the state auditor's office with all the documentation requested, seconded by Overland. Overland, aye. Bakhtiari, aye. Cronin, nay. Motion carried. Overland discussed township option D, whereby the offices of clerk and treasurer could be combined. There is a time limit to place option D on the November 5th, 2024 ballot. Road update. Assistant to the road supervisor Anderson reported on the completed and pending road work. The report will be posted on the township website. Anderson recommended the township insure the Sturgeon Island Bridge. Bakhtiari will check on Madet Insurance. Zoning update. Beckman reported 7 permits with 5 or 6 permits pending and waiting for payment. Blight, 13 letters sent to owners with 4 owners moving to the next level of action. Planning Commission update. Beckman requested approval for conditional use permit with a permit fee of $750. Motion by Overland to approve the conditional use permit application of $750 fee. Seconded by Cronin. Vote taken, motion carried. Fire District update, 6 calls. Review claims. Claims were for a total of $99,560.90. Motion by Bakhtiari to approve claims as listed, seconded by Overland. Cronin approves claims with the exception of the claim for Goebel for the township pit cleanup until itemized invoice is received. Motion carried with the exception noted. Open mail and review. Motion to adjourn meeting at 8:54 p.m. by Bakhtiari, second by Overland. Motion carried.
All right, you've heard the minutes. Are there any corrections or additions other than the one to add Bakhtiari, aye on 7B? All right, we have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll second that. All in favor, aye. Overland, aye.
Bakhtiari, aye.
Cronin, aye.
All right, treasurer's report.
Cindy, here's your copy. You can pass these to the three members. Report.
Pass those two down to Val.
Mike over here.
Oh,
And then, here's your copy. For the three board members. Okay, good evening from the Treasury of Windemere Township, and I'm delighted to present a report that's pretty rich tonight. I'd like to start with a slide with some interesting information. Remember the first month I was on this, I don't know, that's not my report that's my report from 2 months ago. Oh, there we go, back up one now. Or two. Yeah, no, that's,
That's the one?
That's May. It's April.
That's me.
mm,
Sorry, I didn't know that. Discount code.
see if you can find it. It'll start with the key issues are June month-end financials. Got it?
Yep, this one, sorry.
Got it? Okay, we'll start right there. Stay right there if you want. Yeah, so I started with a comment about kindness and how kindness is the language that the blind can see and the deaf can hear. And I moved on to some other comments. And tonight I have this from the delightful and powerful and experienced and credible Margaret Wheatley, national consultant to the United States government. And she says this: there is no power greater than community, discovering what it cares about. Ask what's possible, don't ask what's wrong. Be brave enough to start a conversation that matters. Talk with people you know and people you don't know, and talk with people that you never talk to, and be intrigued with what you hear. I think it's good advice to all of us. Maybe some will agree and some will disagree, but what's possible? So I've done my homework, and it has a little bit to do with the finances, because everything has to do with the financials. I can't imagine any topic that doesn't in some way hit the financials of the township. So, but I did my homework and I wrote a paper on what's possible. But I don't want to lead with that. I want to ask everyone in the audience to consider writing up what is possible, and maybe comment on one of our public comments on next month on what you think is possible. Not what's wrong, but what's possible. What should we do? Okay, moving on. Tonight, key issues we're going to talk about in this brief report: review the June month-end financials, update the cash forecast 24-25, and I have an 18-month cash forecast. I've been talking, this is my 4th meeting as your temporary treasurer as we continue to look for a permanent solution. And I have an 18-month cash forecast, which I've said, board, this is your responsibility. So this is not my 18-month cash forecast, but I'm trying to properly manage the money, and I can't do that without a cash forecast. So I've heard from some board members. I hope to hear for you as a group, because no board member has authority alone, but the 3 of you together can set policy, and you can set budgets, and you can set your expectations for how money is going to be spent. And then the required levy for 2025, I don't have much to say about that, but I want to have top of mind awareness, talk a little bit about audit, about policy, and about the future. So let's start with the financials that I passed out. And before we get to June revenue, I just want to call attention to the financials that I'm providing. And all of these will be posted right after this meeting is over. So as soon as IT can get to it, if that's probably tomorrow morning, tomorrow noon. So the balance sheet, the key issue there is not the fund accounting, which we have to do by policy, but how much money do we have? $944,000. And the next one is the June 24 financial activity, which is a report I haven't printed out before, but I've given you this slide, a couple more, Paul. I've given you this slide each month, and so if you go to financial activity June 2024, that captures everything that happened that you approved, because we can't do anything without your approval, last month. The income was $233,000. That included our half of our levy, our tax levy that came in, $231,000. I can't answer why we levied for $400,000 and it came in at $233,000. So there could have been some prior year payments, some delinquent payments or something like that.
Gas tax, maybe.
Yeah, no, gas tax is separate. So next slide is the expenses paid, and I don't really know why I keep doing this, but I'm showing you this on the slide maybe to benefit the audience that's here and the comments that are heard online, if that happens. But here's a breakdown, and you have that on the next report of the number of reports you have in financial activity. And this is in that financial activity, you can see these numbers. They'll pop out during the multi-page report. Supervisory, that's basically the board. The clerk and operations, that includes almost everything involved in running the township, not just the clerk's salary. The treasurer and financial management, of course I'd call out, I have to notice a pretty low number. How about that? That'll pop up next month because the county, we have a claim tonight for $12,000 from the county for figuring the taxes. They're charging us, still charging us for that. The legal services went to zoning account 397, planning and zoning other, and then the public works and roads, which are detailed in the previous month's claims. So you've already seen that number. So again, account balances, the 944,000, that's where we stand. There's been questions come up about the Sturgeon Island Bridge. Some people have it as a favorite topic. Some are feeling like it's something to be disparaged. So I thought I'd just call out, within the financial activity in the last several months, we have paid claims for the structure of that bridge cover of $119,979. We've paid for the actual construction of it, that is the carpenters, and so $17,000, that's this month. So the total so far that we've charged in our expense accounts is $136,979. I've been informed that the estimate of pending costs of the covered bridge are $45,000, so it looks like the estimate should come in around, the total should come in around $182,000. That's just for your information because it's been called out and asked for. Now, the money forecast. Here's the unofficial estimates. This is so important, and whenever you hear about the biannual budget of the state of Minnesota, you can wonder, why is that the way it works? Well, I won't worry about that, but I'll tell you why it works at the township level. And Ron didn't give this report each month. He just suggested to me that I use my experience in change management and add 2 reports that would be useful to the board. So this is one that I've added. So the cash on hand, as I previously mentioned, $944,109. The approved levy for 2024 that we expect in the fall could be as much as $275,000. Probably not more, could be a little less, but we'll get some gas tax money again, refund money, and of course the rest of the levy. And then the approved levy for 2025, that's already been established. So the reason we have a biannual analysis here is we know what the income is going to be. So with the gas tax and the levy at $475,000 total, we'll have $1,694,109 that's can be allocated. Now, if your reserve fund is just a suggested number, this should be a discussion item of the board. Could be every month, it could be once a quarter, it could be once every 6 months, but certainly by year end, and hopefully sooner, the board would say, when we're doing cash allocation and we're looking to the future and planning out how we're going to spend money in this township, we should decide how much is a reserve fund, how much do we have to have on hand, absolutely cannot spend. This is the bottom line, so that in case of an emergency, of course there's other ways of raising money, but one way is to have a reserve fund. So I just picked $600,000. At least one board I've heard one board member has commented on that's a good number. The state auditor says at least 1 year levy. But we've got a lot of moving parts to this township. It's far more complicated than the average township in the state of Minnesota. So maybe the 600 is the right number. Okay, so the net cash available for Q3, Q4, that's the rest of 24, and 25 is $1,094,000. Now, tonight during my report, I'm going to provide this 18-month cash forecast. So you're going to see some of the same numbers again. But for the sake of redundancy, as I've said each month now, and this will be the 4th time, you all must be thinking, and then it's important to realize it doesn't matter how much you think about it or how much you feel about it. What matters is what you do as a group, as a board, not as an individual. So how much are you going to spend? What are the costs going to be? How are you going to allocate money? So that's the, so I want to stop right there and then offer you this 3-page document. And I want to explain, it's not all mine, so don't don't give me credit alone. Cindy, that's for you, and if you would pass these 3 on to the board members. 1, 2, 3. So here's the 18-month forecast. I have begged off a bunch of information from the road department. So everything to do with the road department, I'm not going to comment on. I'm just going to tell you that's the source of the money. The important part that I want to convey to you and to the township is what's it start like, what's it look like, and where do I get the numbers that have to do with operations. So let's talk about the numbers that I came up with. And again, this is not mine. This is a place for you to start, I hope. Hopefully this is where you would start. So there you have the cash on hand, income less the reserve fund, what's available, the $1,094,109. So now I asked the road department, what do you got contracted in 2024? Like if everything stopped and you have contracts in place, Sturgeon Island road paving, $135,000, bridge cover, $45,000. Then in 2024, the planned and pending, I won't comment on the road department. I'll just say the operations number of $100,000. That includes the expense of the board, the clerk, the township coordinator, legal, ads, and all that stuff that you can see when you look at the budget and the June activity. You know, everything that's on that, each one of those accounts. $100,000 between now and the end of the year. That's overhead, basically. 2024 proposed, and there's no contracts for this, but the road department says they might spend that money. So that's up to them to discuss. So then the 2025 budget, I'll comment on operations. I think the operations, and again, this is up to you, not me, but I think the operations are about $190,000. Now, to me as treasurer, if you had to ask me for my opinion on that, I would just say I think it's excessive. And I think there's a lot you could do to attract people to public service that didn't require quite so much pay, and notwithstanding the township coordinator. And then, but that's $194,000, then we have a fire contract for $94,000. So before we turn a wheel, we spend, in the neighborhood of $300,000. So, but these are things that you can study independently and then discuss, hopefully in the coming months. So then the 2025 proposed estimate, that's all about the road department as well. So what it comes down to is the summary on the last page, $1,094,000. If you take out the $975,500 that was indicated on the previous pages, you have excess left over $118,609. The cash balance on January 1, 2026 would be the $600,000 reserve plus the $118,609. So that would be about $718,000. So I hope that's helpful to you. And the reason it was so urgent to me is I manage your money. And I can't do it effectively unless I know how you intend to spend money. So this helps me. I can go by this as a guideline, and you can tell me if it's radically wrong, and then I can make sure that you have liquidity to deal with it. In terms of other news, one of the biggest distractions or time-consuming efforts that are put forth by both accounting and myself as treasurer is managing investments. And we've chosen for a while now to use bankers' acceptances. It's a little bit complicated because you purchase bankers' acceptances at a face value, or at a face value, but you actually pay the principal, and then the interest occurs up to the face value. And you have to get the maturity on a certain day at a certain time and reinvest at a certain time. And I'm thinking, is this really worth it? It takes a lot of time. What's the future treasurer going to think of it? So I met with a bank, and they've offered us an investor account that'll pay us nearly what we would earn. Still under negotiation, but we can make it a lot simpler and have more money deposited in the local bank instead of another way. So that's the next. So I said plan and allocate money, I hope you'll see this as a good head start. And the road department, of course, they should have an interesting discussion with you today because they're putting cards on the table and saying, look at all these projects that we can do, and we can still have $718,000 available January 1, 2026. And of course, you as a board have to say, well, do we want to spend the money on all these roads, whether it's Birchview or Ring Road or Laurel Lane or whatever it is, or do you want to spend it on something else? So that's your story. So, comments now. Let's see if I covered it. Yes, I have. Treasurer's roll, the old way, the new way. I was looking at the way this operation was managed over the last decade and a half. And it's come a long way. And when you discussed last month how many reports we should put online and who's interested in them, and we invite people to ask questions and be informed on everything to do with money in our township. So back in, until Ron took over, you only got really one major report in terms of exactly how the budget worked out. And that was at the end of the year, at the annual meeting. So, but we got a new way, and the future, I think, is becoming more and more efficient. I'm very delighted with this transition we've achieved in the last couple of months with having an outside bookkeeper. So that's working well. The impediments to efficiency. Number one issue is anyone that understands accounting, finance, audit, management of accounting and paperwork would say this system of having a separate clerk and a treasurer has to be the most inefficient possible system there is. If you're a very small township, as probably 1,700 of them are in the state of Minnesota, and about 70 are much more complicated and more like Windemere Township, they make it work because it's very simple, and they avoid a financial audit. So, as I've said before, when it comes to audit, having a policy in place for a financial audit every year cannot be overstated in importance. And that's all I can say about it because I'm powerless to do anything about it. In terms of other issues related to change, I have this claims processing policy, payments policy, mail and document retention policy, and thank you for putting it on the agenda and keeping it on the agenda for coming up in old business, and I can discuss and introduce that again. So with that, I think my report is complete, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you very much, Paul. Appreciate that. Questions? Tony, Heidi, any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I thought Mr. Mossberg really had he brought us to the highest level as far as the treasury goes. And I want to thank you, Mr. Horgan, for taking us even one step higher. I did enjoy, the information that you put together. It's easy to read, easy to comprehend, and I just wanted to let you know that.
Thank you. And by the way, for your discussion, whether you have it on old business or however you want to get to discussing the budget, I've provided you with the updated budget for half of the year. I've studied it. It's very interesting. And but I don't want to spend your time on something that isn't of immediate interest to you. But this is half the year. So when you start looking at financial performance for the year, you can look at those numbers and say, okay, where are we going to be at the end of the year? So I think it's a good document, and it's surprisingly similar to what you planned in many, many areas. So congratulations on that.
Very good.
Hard to do any better given the moving targets in this township.
All right, do we have a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
So moved.
We have a second? I'll second that. All in favor, aye. Overland, aye.
Aye.
Koenig, aye.
Public input.
There's only one person signed up for public input, and that's Sue Webb.
Okay.
Hi, I want to say I'm the one that owns the property on Island Lake where the outlet goes out. And we've had a lot of rain this spring, I know, and they came in and they cleaned out the end of the creek, which is fine with me. I'm just wondering when that's gonna get out of my yard. Is there any, I talked to Tony on Monday and Alan, and I'm just kinda wondering, now this week's been good and dry. I want it out of there. I'm cutting grass around it, trying to, it's just in the way.
Yep, we have discussed that, and I believe that it's just a matter for the contractor to get a time to get in there, and that should be happening soon, is that correct? Yes,
Okay.
so the pieces, things
It is
are
in the
in
works.
motion.
I just,
Yeah, they're in the
I hadn't
works.
heard anything after I talked to you guys on
Yeah.
Monday, and I just wanted to know that there was something so we could get it going.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you. All right, old business. So we've talked, I brought this up last meeting about what we have as options that are available to townships when it comes to the clerk and treasurer positions. And so this is from Mr. Fensky, the Association of Townships attorney, and I think the best I can do is just read it to you, and hopefully that'll make it the most clear. A long-term solution is to either find a person willing to take the elected office or to have the voters authorize a change in the town government at the next election. The voters can allow the township's clerk and/or treasurer to be appointed all the time, so the clerk or treasurer is never elected. This is called option B, township government. That is where the clerk and/or treasurer are appointed. Once this option is adopted by the voters, the clerk or treasurer becomes appointed and the board may hire to fill it. Another option is to combine the offices of the clerk and treasurer into one office. This is called option D, township government. This option removes the treasurer position and rolls the two position into the clerk's role. The existing treasurer could become the clerk treasurer. Be aware that the option D requires periodic financial audits of the township, so the town board will need to budget for the cost of professional audits. So what I would like to propose is that, and in talking with Mr. Fensky, and since we now have a township coordinator who could serve as our treasurer or as our appointed clerk treasurer, or in this case basically just clerk because the treasurer gets rolled in. I think it would be wise for us to take advantage of that since we have this person already in place and have her, Brittany in this case, fulfill this role. What that requires is for us as a board to make a motion, if we so choose to put this forward. The clerk then directs the county to put this on the ballot at the November election. The reason that we need to do it at this meeting is that we are required by state law to have this to the county auditor 86 days prior to the election, which would mean that the August meeting would be too late. So we need to make a decision tonight if we want to move forward with that. So what we would be doing is there would be 2 questions on the ballot in November that would say, do you, and the wording is available to us from the Township Association. But basically it would say, do you approve having the positions of clerk, treasurer appointed And then the second question would be, would you agree to have the two positions combined? So there'll be two questions on the ballot if that's what we would choose tonight. So I hope that's clear. And discussion.
Well, my question is that you mentioned something like there's going to be a periodic audit.
Yes.
Is that like yearly or quarterly or?
Periodic, that's the way Fensky wrote it. I would assume it might be annual. It certainly wouldn't be any more than annual. But I don't know if it's required annually or every other year or how. Paul?
I understand it is required as a financial audit. Yeah, financial audit, because you had an overall audit here in the township about 5 years ago. Now, that's a different thing. A financial audit is just about the books.
Okay.
And, any treasurer or clerk, anybody that's handling a treasury, I don't think they want to serve, and this is my opinion again, but I don't think they want to serve and then 5 years later you come to them, oh, by the way, we think there's a discrepancy here. Nobody wants that hanging over them. You're going to serve as you're going to have a financial audit, just like banks have a financial audit. This is very simple because we only have about 20, 25 transactions a month. So there's a whole lot of reasons why we're easy to audit.
Very good.
And for the audience's sake, the reason we're doing this is really hard to find a treasurer. And if you're going to be appointed, you have to live in Windemere Township. And, and we have elected, sorry, yeah.
Right.
And so that's why this is really the way to go. And I hear that, Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, that a lot of our township having the same problem. It's not like it's unique to us, correct?
That's true, right. Another part of this is, this was brought up to me recently, is that a lot of people just don't like the idea of having to be elected. They may be more than happy to serve in this position, but really don't like the idea of being on a ballot. So, and now, again, as I stated earlier, we're in a bit of a unique situation now, a new situation where we have an employee on hand that is already under our employee that can and would be willing to take on this position. So, Heidi, any comments?
We know we brought this up a couple different times, haven't really discussed the details. As far as finding a treasurer, that isn't the board's responsibility. It's when we come up for election. Because I've been on the board a little while, we've never actively sought out as a board who can we put on the ballot or who's interested in being put on the ballot for the treasurer position. I guess I'm interested in finding out, my impression was that Brittany's position was the zoning coordinator, not the overall township coordinator, and it sounds like there's already been discussions and you're sounding like you're interested in taking over the coordinator, the township coordinator position, which in my impression is significantly different than a zoning coordinator, which was Dennis's position. So is that something that's been discussed with you then, in taking over?
Well, from my understanding, I took the role of township coordinator, which is all inclusive and yet to be defined. So, I mean, yes, I'm more than happy to be anything that this township needs and wants me to be within reason. But I believe I am the township coordinator and not just zoning.
And is that, I guess I'd have to look back, that's the way the position was posted as township coordinator, not township zoning?
Yeah, because in our discussions, we talked about eventually assuming some of the road responsibilities perhaps and
Sure.
various aspects. So yes, zoning was going to be one of the key parts, but not the only one.
Yeah, I guess my confusion comes in is that, and I did call Brittany earlier, there is no position description for her current job. So I guess that's what makes it, I guess, open to anything. Would we be interested as a township? No. Would we as a township develop a position description so that a person that's fulfilling that role would understand what their responsibilities and roles are, would understand what their requirements are, so they'd understand if they're meeting the board's expectations, or what's the intent there?
I'm not sure I got your question.
We don't have a position description for Brittany's current job.
No, we certainly don't, and in the discussions that we had, and I believe it came out in the interview, is that this is a new position. This is a position that we are developing as we progress in this. There is a need. There was primarily, I think I could say, a need in zoning. We also have the rental property piece that will be worked in. There's a potential to work with roads, and there is also now this potential to include zoning and treasury. Some of the concerns that I had heard was that, does this township coordinator, is there enough work? You know, we had Dennis who did zoning as a part-time job, basically on Saturday and Sunday, and unfortunately for him, probably too many nights, but far from a full-time job. So we bring in this coordinator, and part of the job is to take over zoning, but as we all know, come about November, December, and through much of the winter, it gets pretty quiet. And so I think there's potential there to fill in the spaces with this job of the clerk treasurer. And so, yes.
Well, I just wanted to add, as a member of the selection committee, you know, and we did advertise with a job description as a starting point. So it's not like we're completely shot in the dark. I mean, everybody that applied for the job had that basic job description.
Yeah.
Which was, you know, somewhat generic, but your point is well taken.
So the other part of this is that should the electorate approve this, and for some reason it doesn't work out for Brittany to do the job, we're still in a position where we can appoint someone else. So that is a possibility. So.
Yeah, I understand, and maybe it's just my years of experience in, you know, hiring and getting the work done and you know, determining and planning. I understand that this is a new thought, a new position, but it goes far beyond my comfort level to not have a position description for a fairly well-paid job as a zoning coordinator would be, as the coordinator currently is, with no specifics on what their roles and responsibilities are, with no expectations of whether or not they're meeting the board's expectations or they're meeting what their constituents will be asking.
Okay.
That would be at a minimum for me, in order to vote on something like that, that would be a guarantee that we would sit down and come up with an actual job description. I have examples that I tried to pitch before, you know, I wasn't put on the selection committee for the applicants to post that position description, and I never got any traction for that. And I just think that's very important for anybody that's taking on a role and responsibility to understand what their expectations are.
Okay, now let's get back to the discussion that's at hand. We're talking about this idea of putting this on the ballot.
That's correct, and so before I vote for putting it on the ballot, I'd want to have some guarantee that, with the intent that when I'm voting for the ballot, that's one thing that the board will commit to, is to developing a position description for that position in case it does pass and we end up in the position of having to hire someone.
Okay, I think that's all spelled out, isn't It's to fulfill the position of clerk and treasurer, that what the clerk and treasurer does at this time.
Well, it's actually a little bit more because statutorily, the clerk's and the treasurer's duties are pretty, there's not a whole lot to them. And once we actually get into hiring them, we can tweak that and add much more responsibility than currently what's in statute. So, because what's in statute is very generic.
All right, well, very good. That is something we can certainly develop. So, if that would be your pleasure. So, I would make a motion that we move forward and send this down, put this forth to the county auditor for us to have option B and option D on the November ballot. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All right. Any more discussion?
I just have a question. You said
Yes.
that Matt has got the wording that would
Yes.
go on the ballot, so we'd have that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. All right. Anybody else? If not, all in favor, aye. Overland, aye.
Bakhtiari, aye.
Koenig abstain.
All right. Town Hall Steering Committee. Last month, we appointed the steering committee. What we really didn't do was flesh out any parts of how or when it was going to meet, who would lead it, and things like that. I had kind of moved in and organized a meeting. There was some question on whether that was appropriate, so I called off the meeting at that time. So anyway, Tony, I kind of maybe stepped in on your toes there, or stepped on your toes when I planned the meeting. I guess I saw this as, I don't know, I just wanted to get it moving. But anyway.
Mr. Chairman, excuse me.
Go ahead.
Due to the conflict in priorities, I will not lead the Town Hall Steering Committee. I defer that to the chairman.
All right, well, okay, thank you. So, yes, so we have the steering committee in place by having it led by just one board member. We don't have the conflicts that come with open meeting law, gives us a little more flexibility. And so I am hoping, I see Tim, you're here, there we go. And Rob, you're here. Does Monday night work for you guys?
Alan, Mark is over there.
Oh, Mark, you're here too. Yes. And Vern, you're here. All right, let's see. We're missing Tara and who?
Scott.
Scott, yes. All right, so I'm hoping Monday night at 7:30 at the town hall. All right, very good.
At the Town Hall?
At the old town hall, we're gonna tour get an idea of what we have there as far as a building and land and everything else. Yes?
Scott Danowski says 7:30 on Monday works.
Good, very good. Thanks, Kate. All right. Claims processing, mail and records policy.
So you pass these three on to the board members. Overall, as you know, we're a little weak on policy in our township, and in administration especially. If you go back to the audit of about 5 years ago, it was a good buy and a complete audit, both financial and operational as it relates to statutes. And a number of recommendations were made on policy. Before we get to the end of the year, I'm going to suggest one of the board members might take on looking at that audit and looking at other policies that might be adopted. In the meantime, I've given thought to this over the last couple of months. Now, last time I didn't push it. You had a discussion about upgrading the exact time when claims are due. And here's the way things are working. And I say this with no blame or judgment. This is just the way it is, nothing personal. But let's say the meeting is on the 11th of the month, as it is now. If we go ahead with this policy, the treasurer that has most of the work to do to prepare the accounting system and the payroll system for the claims would get the material first on the 1st of the month. Last day of the month at midnight for claims, the 1st of the month with the vendors. The treasurer would have the responsibility then to make a copy and to deliver copies to the clerk. The clerk, by statute, doesn't really have to do much, which means what I'm suggesting is the clerk has less to do and gets paid the same money. So I think everyone would love that if they were clerk. You have 1 page of a manifest of your claims, with the claim numbers, with the amounts, and with the accounting numbers. This is all you need. Now, we get trained and we pay for training and we get paid to go to training. We might as well use that information. And what we learned is we don't need 30 pages of recopied claims that the clerk can do that if she wants to, but there's no need for the township to pay for it. Because you should look not at that cover sheet, but you should look at the invoices. They're already authenticated by the clerk and by the treasurer because I made up the checks. But if you have a book and you take a copy of this every month, the township coordinator can send you a copy, and you can have a little notebook, a 3-ring notebook, and any questions you have about claims over the last, all you have to do is look at 12 sheets of paper, and they're right in front of you. No need to call the treasurer, call the clerk, look up anything. And if you want to refer to a claim, you can just say, okay, here's the claim number. Here's the date. Here's the vendor. So my claims processing policy is efficient, and it gives the treasurer the opportunity to get to work on the monthly reporting immediately, not waiting for 5 or 7 days or more from the clerk. And the clerk can do, the clerk's job. And if it's combined next year, well then this is a non-issue. But for the next 6 months, if I have to do this job, and I would prefer if someone steps up and wants to take over, much prefer that, that'd be great. But in the meantime, this is the way I think it was sensible for us to operate. The mail processing thing, it's clear that we're a government agency, and the mail that comes in can be picked up at the Moose Lake Post Office by the township coordinator, logged in, and made available to the town board, with a list every week if you want to. And then I commented on just clarifying what it is we have for records retention. When I took over from Ron on March 22nd, he gave me 2 full boxes of stuff. Most of it is outdated. I don't think any clerk or clerk treasurer needs to be storing so much information in their own home. We have an office now, and we should have office files. So I've delivered the boxes over there. But I'd like to know, based on this policy being adopted effective now, that if it's over the 7 years old, throw it away. If you want it to be 10 years, whatever you want to do, but 7 years seems to be the legitimate number. So that's where this came from. I think it's a good document. I think we need more policies like this. We need a policy manual. We need to clarify things. I'm confused, for instance, on policy on this job description because I feel like it exists. We advertise with it. It was approved by the board. And it is a job description. And it was agreed that you're going to try to improve it, but we have a job description. But there's a policy that's easy to misunderstand. Let's not misunderstand policies. And let's have more of them to clarify everybody's role. So thanks for listening.
All right. So, I assume that if we do this, there's going to have to be change of addresses made.
Well, no, we don't have to change the address. We can leave the address the same, but we can have a mailing address that even stays the same, but the Sturgeon Lake Post Office will forward it to the Moose Lake Post Office, so it can be picked up there.
Okay.
And that, it starts with 6 months to do that. So at the end of 6 months, in January, you could get a 3-month extension and then, go for 3 more months. But at some point, you'd have to decide, are we going to change our mailing address? Because if you end up with a clerk treasurer that lives next to the Sturgeon Lake Post Office, well then, why have it sent to Moose Lake? They can just pick it up there. Then you don't have to change the address. So I think you kick the can down the road on the address change. Leave it the way it is, but we can use mail forwarding for free.
Forwarding. Very good.
Well, can we change the address anyways because of the elections, and don't we have to keep the address the same?
Not
I
a
mean, we
mailing,
can-
not a mailing address, I don't think.
Okay.
I'm right?
No. You have to publish where you're gonna vote, absolutely.
Yeah.
But right now, I don't think that's an issue anyway.
Okay. I like everything about it, because it looks like everybody that needs to manage the mail is kind of close to Moose Lake than, the town hall. So I'm all in favor of this.
All right. Tony, are you making a motion then that we adopt this?
Yes, I definitely make a motion to adopt the claims processing, payment, mail, document retention policy.
All right. Do we have a second? I'll second that. Discussion?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, is this just a clarification from what was discussed last month as far as claims process?
The only part of it that we acted on last month was to,
The first of the month?
yes, that the first of the month, and that it would be sent to both the treasurer, claims would be sent to both the treasurer and the clerk. This goes on to various other things with recording of the mail, yeah,
Record retention.
and record retention, exactly.
Clerk, do you have any thoughts, concerns?
I didn't agree with it last month, I don't agree with it now, but it's a moot point. It's gonna be done, so I guess, whatever. I've been told that my opinion doesn't matter anyway, so.
Is there any particular part that is, bothers you more than another specifically?
It's just not that simple to get it all done like he thinks it's done. And the treasurer doing all the work. I've done accounting before, I've done bookkeeping before, I've done payables, and I've done all that, and it's not that difficult. So I don't get that.
I'm not sure the difficulty is the
Well, no, not
key point
difficult. I mean, it
is-
doesn't take that much time. It really doesn't take that much time, but again, everybody disagrees, so whatever.
Well, here's the thing. I don't want to, with all due respect, and again, no blame or judgment, but this is the way it works. I get notice that I get the material on Saturday or Sunday. This time, for instance, it was Saturday night. I picked up the claims on Sunday. I worked on Sunday. I don't like to work on Sunday. Nothing personal, but I don't like to work on Sunday. The reason I worked on Sunday and Monday and handled the communication with the accountant is you got the reports on Tuesday. And I prefer that because my option then isn't to wait until Tuesday or Wednesday and do the work, because if there's a glitch, you don't get paid, and the vendors don't get paid. And there's glitches that can happen and have happened. So, yeah, I would say, if you don't think it's complicated, come and have a look at it.
Yeah.
I don't think most people would last a half a day on the orientation. It's not easy. And I will also add that, this is not the kind of work I did for 33 years as a CEO. I didn't do the work. I didn't know how to do the work, but it's difficult.
So really the thing that's changing here is just ensuring that that things are being processed in a timely manner so that everything is done before the first of the month, is that correct?
Everything begins to be processed on the first of the month, and both parties will have the information. This is, especially the next 6 months, it's opportune,
Yeah.
but both parties will, because as soon as I get the information, make copies, give it over to the clerk.
So when you said you got it on Sunday, was that like the 6th? Was that after the 1st of July, or was that before the 1st?
No, it couldn't have been just last Sunday.
Okay, oh, for
Yeah.
this
It was,
month.
Yeah,
it was
for
the
this month.
6th because July 4th was a holiday. There was a holiday in there, so there's a couple of days.
Well, holidays don't matter to me.
Well, then Sunday shouldn't matter either.
Well, that's a different matter.
Okay.
To church.
All
Just
right,
wanted
we
to
have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the claims processing payments, mail, and document retention policy. All in favor, aye. Overland, aye.
Bakhtiari, aye.
Cronin, aye.
All right, very good. Approval of election judges. We have a list here in the midst here somewhere. I can find it.
Yeah, you should have a list of the judges, and all
Yeah,
I
I'm
need is
trying
a
to-
motion
There we
to
go.
approve them.
So,
I'd like you to look at the second page, though, because I did a survey about the paying of the judges.
Sure.
And Windemere came in the middle, kind of an average amount. And I just want to make a comment that Windemere is the second largest township in Pine County, the second largest. And there's counties that are paying their judges more, and specifically their head judges, they're paying them more. So just something to consider for next year when you're considering payment for these people.
Sure, thank you. So just so everybody knows, Head Judge Scott Danelski, Head Judge Rhonda Young, Head Judge Clarissa Ellis Prudhomme, Cindy Wolger, Administrator Judge, regular election judges Marie Danelski, Josephine Fossum, Peggy Granquist, Catherine Green, Debbie White, Mary Wiggin, Judy Nelson, and Cindy Darwin. Do I have a motion to approve this list of election judges?
I'll make a motion to accept that.
Is there a second? I'll second it. All in favor, aye. Overland, aye.
Cronin, aye. Oh my God. I'm gonna vote for you now.
Tony, are you with us?
You're not
Any
talking.
discussion? Any discussion? Or- I have a couple of questions. What is the responsibility of head judge?
Well, they handle any problems that come in. When people come in and there's a problem with voting or signing people up. They're just kind of the go-to people.
So
for
one
that.
head judge has to be available.
One
all
head
the time.
judge, yeah, per time, yeah.
Okay,
So I've got Rhonda in the morning Clarissa in the morning, and then I've got Rhonda and Scott in the afternoon.
very good.
Yeah, the only problem that I have is actually Scott, because, he's a very good friend of the supervisor that is, I don't know whether she's running or not, but if she is, I think he should recuse himself.
Oh, my God.
You can't do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's possible. Anyway, we are in the midst of the vote. Are you A or nay?
I'm nay.
Nay. All right. Motion carries. Moving forward,
I
approve.
have a quick question, and I know we made the salary increase, but we've got a huge election coming up with a lot of time. Would it make sense to have that discussion to consider, which is a very valid point, raising their wage to $20 an hour, like some of the other, several other townships that are significantly smaller than Windemere? I mean, if we wait till next year, we're missing out on this very big election cycle, which they're going to be required to do a whole lot of work. And I just think that would be timely to do that.
Who are the other townships that they pay $20 an hour?
Well, let's see, it's
Yeah,
Clover and Dell
Yeah, should
and
have it.
Fleming and
I just got
Petaluma,
It would have been.
I think
the-
he's got the list, he just hasn't seen it yet. It's
Okay.
on the second page. there.
Arna, Royalton, Sturgeon Lake Township.
What's the pay now?
18,
18.
so it's $2 more an hour.
Lowest, Rutledge is at 13, Sturgeon Lake City is at 14, Willow River, Rock Creek are at 15, along with Berry and Ascove and Arlone. Brook Park, Shangwatana, Ogama
I feel
are
comfortable
at
with
18.
19.
Sandstone is at 19, Windemere at 18. What did you say, Jeff?
I feel comfortable with $19 a ton.
19, all right. All right, you want to make that a motion?
So moved. Make it-
Okay, we have a motion to raise it to $19. We have one across the
Everybody gets the same.
cross. All right, do we have a second? I'll second that. Okay, other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of raising the pay of the election judges from 18 to 19, please say aye. Overland, aye.
Aye.
Cronin, aye.
All right. Moose Lake Golf Club liquor license.
You should have a copy of that.
And yes, here it is, Pine County. Okay. Are we in a position where we are supposed to set a fee? Or is that established? It says
That hasn't
here-
been established yet. We've never done that with the liquor license.
Mr. Chairman, I've been asking this for years, and it just keeps getting postponed, and we're getting nothing. And I don't know why, and these liquor licenses in Windemere Township are very, very cheap.
Do you know we've charged in the past?
$100,
What now?
isn't it? $100.
What the Windemere has charged for a liquor license fee?
Nothing.
We have charged nothing, zero. Pine County gets all the money.
From the golf club? I thought like, what about Ray Marges and,
Nothing.
No,
Nothing for the liquor license.
no.
really?
It goes to the county.
Yeah.
All money goes to the
There's
county.
$1,700 to the county for them.
So, now this is, the sheet that I'm looking says, please return the following certification to the Pine County Auditor's Office as soon as possible. And then it says, I, fill in the blank, Clerk of Windemere Township, hereby certify that on sale and Sunday license to Moose Lake Golf Club was received and presented to the town board meeting, which was held on tonight, yep, that the township board approved the issuance of the license. Then, I don't remember this before, I further certify that the township board has set a fee of as a charge over and in addition to the county license. Is this something new?
No,
No, that's always been on there.
That has always been
We've
on
always
there.
put zero in
And
there.
we've just put zero.
I think it should be at least $500.
I think that warrants further discussion, coming up with that and taking a look and seeing if and what other townships charge, and before we just throw a number. If this board seriously wants to consider adding that as a fee, which I understand, but I think that warrants a little bit more digging into.
Do you think there should be any fee?
Yeah,
Okay, what would you suggest?
I don't know, like I said, I'd have to look and see what other townships, what would be reasonable. I don't know, I have no idea, I can't give you
I
that.
think we need to do this tonight, though. I believe is,
Well, I mean, if you want to start charging a fee for the Moose Lake Golf Course tonight, I don't think it's going to make a hill of beans of difference if we put a little, again, forethought into what we're going to charge, waiting another year for them, and then we can have a discussion, talk to the planning commission and see, what other townships charge for this so that it's reasonable and it's well thought out. I don't, that's how I operate, just do it by the
Maybe,
facts and.
maybe it should be in the beginning of the year so it's for the whole year and everybody gets charged the same thing for the year. Right.
But the liquor license comes.
I've had conversations with some of the board members on this, and just looking at it from a financial standpoint. And it is an opportunity for revenue, just like everything that we charge. And $1,000 wouldn't be unreasonable. I've heard people say that, what's the value of a law license? And, attorneys joke about it's a license to do a lot of stuff, you know? It's valuable. What's the value of a liquor license? To sell liquor is a very valuable thing. And if you're in, now, I don't think over $1,000 would make any sense, and maybe that's a little too high. However, we can't act like we're in St. Louis Park or, you know, Montevideo or Duluth, you know, and we charge $5,000 or something, you know. We have to have it, but I think, you know, going with the beginning of the year leaves it even ground for everybody.
That's right, and it gives us time to discuss what is reasonable compared to what do we charge for a permit for our VRBOs that make an awful lot of money as well. So what do we charge for that? So I just think, and then we can get an idea of what other townships, what do they charge as well, so.
Well, City of Sturgeon Lake charges $2,800 and
For their.
for liquor license.
Okay.
And the thing is, I have held more than at least 10 liquor licenses, and the cheapest I have ever paid, like Paul said, that was in Elk River. It was $5,800, and that was like 20-some years ago.
Hmm.
So, you know, for us to ask and just for, I mean, $500, it was just like, you know, nothing actually.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, you know, it's not a reasonable amount, it's just I'd like to do just a little bit of research, and I think that Cindy brought up a really good point. We need to start at the beginning of the year because we've already issued a liquor license where we didn't charge them anything, so now all of a sudden we're gonna start with Moose Lake. I think that's being disingenuous, and I think we should start at the beginning of the year.
I don't have any problem with that, except that liquor licenses, they come in different times, so it doesn't matter, you know, if we don't charge anything now, so we lost this revenue. So we're gonna wait till the
Right.
next year,
Yep.
and something will come on February, some way come.
Well, if you start in January, then you're catching them all for the whole year.
Okay, we need to, that's something we certainly need to keep in mind then.
Sure.
And remember, so.
So who's gonna do that research? You want Heidi take over that position?
I can certainly talk about it with the planning commission and do some research, and I'd be more than happy to do that, yes. Yep.
All right, so who wants to make a motion here?
To approve this liquor license?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the Moose Lake Golf Club liquor license for the year of 2024.
And no charge.
No charge.
All right. Do I have a second? I'll second that. I'm not sure that we shouldn't start with at least a little something, but I'll go along. All in favor, aye. Overland, aye.
Crowning, aye.
Gary, nay, and I think maybe Brittany, if you wouldn't mind to just take over that research for the liquor licenses. But no, just communicating with Heidi, it's not like, you know, so it comes, you know, all the information will come to you. Because one thing that you said at the beginning of the meeting, you want to hold the meeting to 1 hour instead of just all of us start, you know, browsing through. So I appreciate that, you know, if you just get the information.
All right, insurance policy. Tony, did you have information on that?
Yes, I got the, you know, I wanted to put the bridge cover on the policy because that's a structure that, you know, is valuable to the township. And also, and I didn't see any purpose to pay for the town hall, but I see that some people, they, you know, they wanted to have a discussion, so somebody put this on the agenda, it wasn't me, so. I didn't,
Put which?
I didn't put the, discussing the insurance policy on the agenda, somebody did, so I don't know, it wasn't me.
Okay, but you were going to check into
I
the...
did check it, and you know, we got the report.
Okay, and so what, will they actually insure the bridge cover?
Yes.
Okay, and
And also, I asked them to see if they would cover our office. And they said that because they don't cover the office like a renter's insurance, they don't do that. But they cover all the, like.
Oh, the equipment inside.
Equipment inside and maybe if there's any computers and printers and stuff like that, so they would cover that.
Automatically?
Yeah, it's all in there.
It's a blanket.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so at the last meeting, it was discussed that Mr. Bakhtiari was going to look into getting the bridge covered. And of course, depending on the amount of what it is we want to cover, I think changes what the bottom line is that we pay for our insurance. So I wasn't sure, you know, you were going to look into it, so that means, you know, you're going to come back and report what you found, like how much are we going to cover it for, and because I had no idea what we think the value of that bridge is. And then as well as taking off the town hall off our insurance. That one really threw me because those decisions are board decisions. You know, somebody just doesn't get to call up and say, oh, I want to take the town hall off the insurance. We have to, as a board, make that decision. As well as we have to make the decision if we're going to cover the bridge, how much do we think we should cover it for? And then we can articulate that decision onto Matt's insurance company and they can make that change. So those are the two items that, you know, let's talk about covering the bridge, and if so, how much do we want to cover it for?
My recommendation is $250,000.
Okay.
And do we have any idea how that would change our premium?
Well, the premium's already here and broken down, and the reason I suggested not to have the town hall, because even though if, let's say, you know, let's say tornado hits it, you know, and the insurance company always, they're gonna have an excuse, because it's a, you know, that's a 120-year-old building and it's mold infested, so it's gonna, you know, not gonna cost anything. But that's the board decision, you know, I agree. So if you guys wanna, you know, keep it on, that's fine, but we have the garage on, we have the office equipment, and we have the bridge cover. And if you wanna keep the town hall, I thought, I don't wanna throw good money after bad money, but I think, you know, it's your decision. It's the board decision.
All right. It appears that the town hall right now is insured for $153,000. Is that?
Where are you reading that, Mr. Overland?
On Minnesota Association of Townships policy schedule property occurrence, it's this handout. It says Matt on the front.
Oh, there we go.
It's the back of the second page.
Which is, in my opinion, if you think about replacing it, is significantly underinsured.
Yeah.
Significantly.
It doesn't.
So that would be a significant loss. So if we're going to insure it, you'd have to multiply that easily by 4 or 5 to replace it.
Right.
Not to have any insurance on it is, you're asking for trouble on that one.
Okay. You think somebody's going to burn it down?
You don't know what anyone can do.
I know that.
If someone goes in there and slips or falls, or somebody gets on top of the roof and jumps off of it.
That's a liability insurance. That's not a replacement. I believe would be a whole different policy.
I don't know how that works, so that's
Well,
my concern.
Yes, well, I'm sure it is. So that would be 2 entirely different things. So.
Anytime you have any kind of value, and there's value to that building, you need to insure that.
Well,
In my opinion.
yes, that absolutely. That I have never operated that way myself, and that is the discussion. Tony, what's your thought on this?
I think, we should go for the bridge cover, like I said, for $250,000, because by the time, that's a monument that is gonna be there for years, past our lifetime, obviously. And and for I think if you wanna keep the town hall at $120,000, that's fine.
Okay.
And the garage, I think if you build it, it's gonna cost more, but that's something that it was suggested
Yeah.
by Matt.
Well, yeah, it's, again, these things are
It was
hard to know, hard to keep up with. Tony, you want to make that a motion that we put the bridge on and leave the?
Al, just one question.
Yes.
Just duty of care to all of us, clerk, treasurer, board members. I just wonder if we could say we want the town hall and church for $120,000, but another way to do it, which is the way it really works in the world, is to ask the agency, ask Matt, how much will you insure it for? And take the maximum. If they want to insure it for $200,000, go ahead. I mean, because it's pennies.
That's what I did, and that's what the number that you gave
Okay.
me.
Yeah.
So, will they do that? Do you know? Will they actually?
I think we should look
Not
at how much we can
Jack, just
cover it for.
advice.
Yeah, I think we should find out what
Sure.
the value is. If you undervalue any structure, what I think that what it tells me, if you're gonna lower it to 120, where the limit right now is 150, you're telling me you don't value that. You're telling me that that is not an asset. You're telling me that if a tornado or it gets burned down, you're willing to take a significant loss. I would like to know. I think Paul's point is right. How much can you cover this for? What are we looking at for costs? And get the maximum out of that in case. I think that's just being prudent. And in more than that, it's not our building. It's everyone here's building.
I did not give them the numbers except for I actually just said approximately $200,000 for the bridge cover. But these numbers came from Matt. It didn't come from me. I didn't say anything about.
Okay. Why don't we check on this? I see that this policy, is not due until the 15th of August, which would allow us to cover it at our next meeting. Okay, have we, is this on the claims?
No.
It is not.
No, because
Okay.
you have to decide what you want insured. so
Right,
you can adjust the
okay,
bill.
just wanted to be sure. All right. Tony, did you want to check into that then?
Yeah, okay, I want every single question, so we're not going back and forth.
Okay, one is going to be, what is the maximum that they would insure the town hall for? And then secondly, so are we going to do the same thing with the Bolduc building then?
Yeah.
The garage?
Yeah, the garage is insured
Okay.
for 104, I think.
And then the bridge at 250.
So we want everything maximum, at maximum level.
I guess
That was
so.
your question, right? Like what we,
That was my comment.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Thanks, Tony.
And do we feel comfortable with the bridge cover at 250?
I think so.
Well, we've built it so far for less than that, huh?
Correct.
Yeah.
All right, website updating.
Are you gonna finish your motion?
Yeah, we didn't vote.
Are we tabling it or keeping the motion?
Pardon?
Are we tabling the motion or are we keeping the motion?
Yeah, I think that's fair, yeah, he's just gonna do some research and we'll make a
Yeah,
motion next
I don't
month.
think there is any motion to make
Yep.
other than appointing Tony to
Correct.
get further information. Website updating, I hear comments, seems on a regular basis, about the website and either challenges or lack of things that are there or not easy to go navigate. We get, when we were at training, what was it, last February, December? Paul, do you remember what, was it St. Cloud?
St. Cloud.
Cindy, you were there too. There was a website management company that was there that gave a presentation. There are several of them out there that do professional governmental website development. And I think this is something that our new coordinator could look into, find out what are some possibilities for us to look at for a new website development, rather than trying to do a piecemeal patch to what we have now. I think maybe we need to start with something fresh and new and see. They, like I said, at the Association of Township training, they actually had one of these people there giving a presentation of what they can do for governmental units in developing a website. No decisions made here. I just think we could get some options that we could look at our next meeting. Discussion?
I might just comment, if you don't mind. If you look at, say, 10 townships that you might know of, or have friends or family who live there, and it's a substantial place, have a look at their website. And every time I get a call as, official here now as treasurer, I get an email or a call, I always say, send the references and I'll turn them over when the time comes. When the board starts talking about a new website, I'll give you over to them. But we want to see 10 townships you're working for now. And I've seen some of those, and it's fantastic. There's no comparison to the user-unfriendliness of our system. We've got a long way to go in making it easy. I mean, I don't want to carry on with this but there's been multiple officials here. Dennis, the latest one, that was telling us how to find the shoreline ordinance. And if you would tape record that statement, how do you find the shoreline ordinance? Go here and go down to the bottom of the page and then turn left and go to where the old church used to be, turn right, Because this thing it needs attention. It should be a high priority, that's all I'm saying.
Very good. Tony, Heidi?
And so in looking into that, then that was also, having clear direction as far as who's going to post it, when it's going to get posted, what information we posted and stuff, because that's also seems to be a struggle. I'd be up for any, improvement on that,
Yeah, absolutely.
for sure.
All right, Brittany, you'd be willing to work on that?
Yes.
Very good. Tony, any comment?
No comment.
All right, Supervisor Other?
For just the board information that, I did talk to Moose Lake and asking them that, if you could continue having the monthly meeting over here until the end of this year.
Okay.
And they okayed it.
Okay.
So because I don't think, we have a chance of going back to Camp Miller. Do we?
I don't know. This is a nice
Because,
place to be.
because the meeting was taking long and they weren't happy with us at all. So anyway, so that's number one.
That's a possibility, all right.
And the other one was that I would like to make a motion that prior to the clerk sending any information to the state auditor, it'll be sent to all supervisors, including the treasurer, Vern Anderson, township coordinator, electronically or via email for review.
So you're referring about all the information that's going to be sent down to the auditor?
Right, before is send out, so everybody can review it if there is any discrepancy.
Okay, but that doesn't need to be sent as soon as possible.
Yeah, I'm requesting this be done no later than August 1st, 2024.
Okay. Cindy, do you know when you were, excuse me, well, got too close. How close are we to getting the information sent down?
I've sent everything she's asked for so far.
You have, okay, very good. All right, so it sounds like it's already been sent.
Yeah, can we still get that?
Did you send it electronically or was this paper copies?
No, I sent email.
Email. Is that something that would be hard to forward to the board?
It's just a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah, that's
All right.
fine. Yeah, I'd like to get that.
Okay. Can you send it to Tony?
Well,
Okay. Personally, I'm fine.
Anybody else?
Heidi, are you interested in?
Vern, are you interested? Vern, how about you, Paul? You're not interested? Okay.
All right. Anything else?
If I have a question.
No, thank you.
All right, Heidi, anything you have?
I don't.
Okay. Road update? Oh,
So
sorry.
there was a motion, so
Oh. Yes, it is, but it was to get it sent before, and it's already been sent. So you still,
I mean, I don't mind it as soon as I receive it, you know, so. if it's
okay,
gonna-
but
if it's
but
gonna
the
come-
information has already been sent out.
Okay. Yeah, but I'd like to get, you know, as long as, you know, I get a copy of that.
Yeah,
So-
Cindy's going to forward it to you.
Then I rescind my motion.
Okay, thank you. All right, Vern?
All right, thank you, Alan. I'm going to report here in July for work that was done in June, and you can continue on. We'll keep it pretty brief here. So here's some of the activity that was done last month. We did our ongoing grading operations on various roads. All of the right-of-way mowing was done prior to the end of June. It appears that the lack of maintenance in the right-of-way has been a major issue with Lake 12 backing up, along with some other stuff, but this was major. We did some emergency ditch cleaning back off of Pioneer, which is how the water flows. About 2,800 feet was cleaned out and hauled away, and Tim Goebel said in all his years of doing this, he's never seen a rush of water come through there when that got opened up. So actually the top picture is just a portion of that was done in that slide there. So we also did about 1,200 feet of ditch cleaning near White Birch Lane, which is just west of Partridge Road south. Also replaced 7 compromised culverts in this same area on Pioneer, which were badly needed, and did some cleaning of another box culvert there, our only box culvert, I guess, over on Balsam. The beavers tend to want to hide out in there and cause a problem, and not much luck getting them trapped either. So, and the major construction on the Sturgeon Island Bridge cover has been completed. We just have some electrical work and sustaining to do. So, next slide. This particular slide just indicates the grading operations in June, and for some odd reason, it looks like it got cut off. So I'll try to correct that, and of course we'll be online. So next slide is just a previous running tally of everything. So I apologize, I'm not sure what I cut off on this here. So. The bridge project, the deck itself, the asphalt around the new bridge going to Sturgeon Island has slowly resumed. It's not a project that we're overseeing, although we're heavily involved. We just didn't have any say-so in that process really, and it's just taking a lot of time. And so they're anticipating that it should be done this fall, so I'm hoping that it is sooner, but that's what we're kind of shooting for. So with that being said, the asphalt project that is under our watch, it did start back on May 8th, which was the reclamation, and so we're waiting for the other part to get done so we can come and pave everything right through. So got some news here that our sign contractor has been delayed by weather and some inventory issues, and so we're going to have to kick this out into 2025 in the spring. So not the news that we were hoping for, but we don't have much choice. So, and again, just continuing to do some culvert work here and there and some ditch cleaning that has been overdue. And again, there's our contractors and little snippet of the new cover, which has been a nice asset to the community, and most people are very excited and appreciative of it. So under decisions and comments, board members, you have an Island Lake easement in front of you. Heidi, you should have had that copy from long ago, but you do have a fresh copy there. I want to talk about that because, as you had heard, Sue Webb was in here, and nobody really understood. When I took this role, there was no documentation passed on, none, no documentation at all, which this should have been part of that. But so I did track it down with the county, and had some conversations, obviously, when there was a little bit of debris in there. And when I say that, it doesn't amount much more than what the table that Alan is sitting at as far as debris that was pulled out, so it's very minimal. Just kind of in a precarious spot. So my point is this, there is a protocol in here that was put together back in 19 and signed by all parties. And it basically states that Pine County Water and Soil should be contacted first to review if there's a backup or a plug, okay? So prior to that, though, it does talk about there is supposed to be 2 inspections yearly. And it basically says when the initial construction is completed, it is understood that the outlet will be inspected twice a year to assure that it is functioning properly in accordance with its design. We don't have the design, but it's obvious where this outlet is. Inspections shall be made by the party of the second part, and in short, that's the township, or through its employees, which we have none, and or agents, which may include members, well, we do now, excuse me, but I'm sure Brittany's not going to go inspect this, through its employees and or agents, which may include members of the Island Lake Association, which is a typo. There's no such thing. And so here's my point, why I bring this up here. For us to continue to monitor this particular lake along with 17 others in this township just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I do believe that the Lake Association should have some role in this. I did speak with Chip Wells, who was on that board, informed him of this. They all got copies of this. They were supposed to discuss this at their June meeting, and I've yet to hear back from them. Tony may be able to expand on that here in a minute, but I don't feel as a township we need to be responsible for maintaining or monitoring this outlet. It can go back to the Lakes Association, then they can contact Pine County Soil and Water for further advisement. So that's what I have to say. Tony, if you want to expand on your part from the Lakes Association.
I went to the last meeting, and there was some concern as far as the lake level. Obviously, we all have that problem. And I let them know that 20 days out of 30 in May, we had rain, then June added to that. So when there's an issue, just like we had in Sturgeon Lake, when you get that much body of water, which is it's not like a spigot that you can open up, and bring it down and, and fill it. And so I told them that, we as a township, we don't have, there's 3 supervisors, and 1 road, assistant to the road supervisor. So just like we don't have the staffing to just go ahead and check all 17 lakes and just see whether, lake level. And they've been monitoring it. They have a representative, like Chip Wells is managing, every lake has a representative. So I said that you guys are the one that need to monitor this. And if there's an issue, you can, it really need to go to the Pine County
Soil and Water is the protocol within this agreement.
And I also let them know that Windemere Township, we're only responsible to the edge of the water. Wherever the water goes, we don't, that's DNR, and that's this, Pine County. So that's where we left it, and the next meeting is coming up this Saturday, I believe. And I will be attending that, so answer any question.
Very good. So, yes, it appears, like you said, Vern, that this was just a typo, and that probably should have been Windemere Lake and landowners, right?
Correct,
Right.
yeah, that's, I don't know, whoever put this together or whatever, it got missed, but,
No, the name has changed, it's not landowner anymore.
Well, what is it now?
It's a Windemere Lake Association.
Windermere Lake Association, very
Yeah.
good.
so.
Rather than Island Lake Association,
Yeah.
Windermere Lake
So
Association.
the impetus behind this, and I understand we don't have staff to do all 17, we're not asked to do all 17. This is a unique situation because it impacts a lot of homeowners. And so being a partner, which I think is important for this township to be, as a partner to our lake associations, this light ask of going in to do inspections, which Mr. Anderson, you could certainly do as well. You're an employee here at the township. To go and inspect that, to say, do we need anything? Does anything need to happen? Do we need to remove anything? Plus, we have the ability to hire someone to do that work, to partner with the lake associations. I do not want to jeopardize that relationship. I think it's very important that we stay on that. So we're not asked to do this for the 17 lakes. We're asked to do this for this lake, for this time, because we saw the impacts in the past from the flooding, which I learned.
For your
So this is
information,
a
yeah,
part-
for your information, when they contacted us, Mr. Anderson, and I, we went and inspected the place and we hired a contractor to go clean up.
Awesome.
And also, but the homeowner, there's an easement. You have to go through, somebody's property.
Yeah.
And the homeowner was upset with us because I got a call that, you came in through my yard and, you ruined my grass and stuff like that. And I have been doing it with a bunch of shovels and stuff like that all these years. We never had any problem. Why did you come? First of all, I was scolded because, we went and cleaned out. And the second part was that, we had to leave, yes, there was a lot of, leaves and, sticks and so forth. So they had to move that and let it to dry. And yes, we did talk to the contractor, he's going back to clean up, so whatever it was. But I'm just saying that as a citizens of this township, we have to take some of the responsibility instead of just, like, when trees fall down in the middle of the night, I have gone in there with my chainsaw and, on Payland Road twice in the middle of the winter at 5 o'clock in the morning because I got a call. So if there's a little brush over here, the thing that was left behind is not probably as big as this. For us to just hire a contractor, to just go there, it's very costly. So if, as a citizen, you guys can help out, we appreciate it. So if something goes wrong, don't, before you make the phone call, just see if, it's something that you can do as a citizen to clean up. So if, that's not much to ask, because it does cost a lot to hire a contractor for a small job, because they have to take their equipment and the employees and so forth. So that's what I'm saying. Thank you.
I have not seen this up close. What are we talking about? How long is this ditch that we maintain? Or
Well, if you look on
something
your,
maintains?
there should be a survey attached with it. It's a separate
Description,
document
okay.
there. It's not attached. It was loose. It was loose from that
Oh,
one.
it was loose.
Yeah, it was loose. There should be a survey of the easement area. Well, here, I can give you a
It's
copy
the
here.
bottom one. Down.
Oh, it's-
There it is. I got it. Thank you.
So when you look at that, it's not a very big area, and as a matter of fact, when Waldham went in there and took care of this, by the time we got the call, just an FYI, how things get done sometimes is, I got the call, there was an issue, looked at it, and 35 minutes later, the contractor was on site and working on it. So less than an hour, it got resolved. And the problem here is, the bigger problem is the channel in the marsh area between the outlet and the county road, box culvert, is saturated. It's full of debris. And so a lot of the problem lies in there with not a clear path to get out in a timely manner.
To which we have no access.
We have
or
no
right.
access to that or no right to be in there. So, and that's where I am saying Pine County Soil and Water would have much more authority to try to do something, with that or whatever. All about helping out and making things work, and we have. It's just that we're very limited in this, and what they took out of there was literally 3 wheelbarrowfuls.
All right, very good.
So I guess I'm just asking if Tony could reiterate this, next month, whether it needs board approval or not, and ask the association to monitor it, and if there's a few sticks, kick them down, or pull them out. It's not that big of a deal.
I agree with Heidi. I think this is something we can all work together on, and
Sure.
hopefully between the township and the Lake Association, Pine County Soil and Water, let's just try to keep communication open and make sure everybody understands the situation. We don't want anybody's houses underwater, but there are only so many things we can control, and that amount of rain can't do much. So, Bert, anything else on roads?
Yep. The next thing on the list up there is a Brant Road box culvert. You all have a hard copy in front of you from MSA, who did the hydraulic study you approved earlier this year. And they've come to the conclusion this would qualify under the state program. And their conclusion is here on what to do. And all this is probably over most all of our heads. But it's what's needed to pass along to the county, and then of course it would go to the state. And their recommendation is a 48-inch CMP culvert going under Brant Road and everything that goes around that. So my discussion and recommendation is that the board would approve MSA to work with Pine County to get this on the docket for a box culvert, which would resolve most of the issue there, and of course the downhill side of this, of the box is, it's all washed out, and that would get resolved at that time too. It's probably going to be a $150,000 to $200,000 project. So if we can get it done for 20, that would be tremendous.
All right.
So that's my ask of the board, and if you want to do that,
All
do that
right.
more.
Do we have a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second that.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Overland, aye.
Back to you, aye.
Cronin, aye.
What did make it up there is I want to get the board's input on doing a crush of gravel at our pit, which would begin with stripping it, and then going out for some quotes to get that accomplished here yet this late summer, with hopefully using some of that gravel on our roads in early fall. So I know we talked about in the beginning of the year, Rush Boulevard and Dobuzinski getting a pretty good dose of gravel to kind of build up that base on there. And with that being said, we do have opportunity to do that crush. So I want to make sure the board is okay with that. So if you want to make a motion and discuss that crush to go through that process, I'd be more than happy to do that. So.
And you would bring quotes to the next meeting?
Yeah, we with the 2 quotes, that's correct. Yeah, at least 2 quotes.
Right. All right, a motion to, how much are you recommending? Do you have a recommendation of what we would crush?
So it appeared that the more you crush when the equipment's there, the better you're most likely going to get a kind of a deal. So I'm recommending around 10,000 yard of material.
All right. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll second that. We have do we know what we have for making decent gravel down there?
Well, Tim has hauled some material in, so
Okay.
there's a substantial amount of material. Whether all of it's utilized for this purpose or not, I do not know that, what's in there
Okay.
currently. But
we do have.
There is some, and so that would have to be determined, what is needed to make that classified.
And that would be in the vote process.
That's correct, and Tim would, facilitate that at no cost.
Any other questions?
Yeah, but how are we going to facilitate, or how are we going to get quotes for people that are interested in doing this work? What's the process?
Under the contracting law, we're required to solicit 2 quotes, and we can certainly put it on our website, and I will go out to ones that are in the business and ask for a quote.
So what about posting it in the paper? that sounds like a lot of gravel to be crushed. And I know that obviously there was somebody here last month that didn't have an opportunity to even provide a quote. So to keep that fair, what if we advertise it, that we're accepting quotes for crushing gravel?
Well, if the board chooses to do that, that's at your direction.
I'll make a motion that we put out for quotes for gravel crushing in the paper. In addition, we advertise it on our website.
Okay, we got one motion on the floor, so let's, Tony, would you adjust your motion to include advertising?
Yes, I will do that.
Okay. Is that acceptable?
Advertising in the newspaper?
Yes.
And on the website? Yep.
Yeah, all right, and I will agree to add that with my second. So, okay, the new motion will read that we will seek quotes for the crushing of 10,000 yards of gravel, which will be advertised. Which papers were you referring to?
Which ones do we advertise in Cindy?
Gazette.
So the Star Gazette and the Evergreen?
Yeah.
Okay, how, like 1 week or 2 weeks? How have we done that in the past?
There's no time limit on this for quotes, because it's not gonna do over 175. These are quotes, not sealed bids.
Right.
You have to be very clear on that.
Yep. So
Yeah.
do you want to advertise it for 1 week or 2 weeks? What's?
1 week would be fine.
Who's gonna do the language?
I can work with Brittany to put that together, if the board is okay with that.
All right, very good. All
Is
right,
Brittany going to post it, or are you going to give that language once it's done to Cindy to reach out to the newspaper?
It can be emailed over. Brittany can shoot that over to Cindy. We'll just put an electronic form, if that's what you would like done.
I don't know, Cindy, what's your pleasure with that?
Well, either or, and if I'm sending it to the paper, you can send it to me, just copy me.
Yeah.
all right, very good.
I think, it just has to expand on that. Maybe is it something that Brittany could get her feet wet in, with the advertising, all that kind of process, maybe, Cindy? I don't know. Just a thought.
Are you done?
Either way, I don't know
Not
Do you, Cindy?
if there's any legal,
Well, it's usually the clerk that posts it, so, I mean, it's,
yeah, I don't know, that's posting, this is publishing, so I'm not sure.
usually the clerk sends it to the paper.
Very good. All right, let's just do that. Between whoever sends it where, we'll just make sure it gets in. And we'll need to get this done in a timely fashion so that we can get these quotes by next month. All right, all in favor of the motion to crush 10,000 yards of gravel and advertise in the local papers, say aye. Overland, aye.
Bakhtiari, aye.
Cronin, aye.
All right.
Okay, so one more thing that isn't up there. It's been a lot of time spent on this, a lot of phone calls to many of us in here, is this Sturgeon Lake public water access being closed down, and myself and Alan and Scott, we did meet with the contractor on Monday morning, because I received multiple calls. JJ Walton was here, our commissioner. He received multiple calls. Dot Seth was involved. Jason Verrick was involved, our state senator. There was a whole host of people that were involved and just couldn't get a whole lot of answers to that. But it appears that that floodgate has kind of opened up, and there's been some answers as to why. And basically today, the regional manager reached out to me and basically said that they kind of dropped the ball here with communication. It was this is the first one in the state of this program they're doing out of 40, and which we're appreciative of that. But she just said there should have been much more communication, public informational meetings going way back earlier in the year, even last year, because they had plans done in February. So. So they apologized for that, and a lot of the concern was there's just shutting that access off for 30 plus days it does have an economic impact on many short-term rentals, businesses, gas, bait stores. You know, there was a fishing tournament that was scheduled that had to scramble and reschedule that. That's been going on for 44 years, so it was a pretty big deal. And so they admitted this was a problem, and they said that they're going to do much better the next go around. So hopefully number 2 won't have to go through this. They just couldn't explain the timing of it or anything, she said. So,
Yeah.
but
Now, when we met there on Monday morning, the contractor seemed to imply that they would be able to potentially leave it open for an occasional boat or two. That has changed, is that correct?
yeah, it's sometimes it's hard to explain the rationale on things, and she certainly couldn't. But it had something to do with the floating boom that was out where the ramp was. And if that gets moved, it would violate some part of the contract, I guess. So,
Okay.
and
So
that's fine.
right now it is closed.
It is closed, yeah. Nothing's happening, probably not for a couple weeks, but it's closed. So, it's just unfortunate it had to take place that way, so. And one more thing that I've noticed, you guys can put on your radar, talk to Tony about this. For some odd reason, our septic tank at the shop continues to rise and nobody's using it. So that would appear to be, we got a maintenance issue there, so I would hope that we can get that taken care of before winter time with the riser and get it sealed up so we're not paying to be pumping that out or whatever, so.
All right. I think it's just potentially a leak,
It,
surface water
most
leak.
likely, yeah, we should have it looked at to get it resolved, so.
All right.
I can call Sandberg to come and check it.
Okay.
And come up with the numbers and let you guys know.
Okay.
Are you done, Mr. Because
Yeah, I've said enough, I'm done.
Because Vern and I talk to each other and visit and so forth, you know, almost on a daily basis. And I just wanted, and the title that we gave Vern, assistant to the board supervisor, is kind of deceiving because he does a lot of all that work, and I assist them, and we talk about it and so forth. So I would like to make a motion to change assistant to the board supervisor to road manager instead. And so when people call, instead of going through all of that, we can just say, okay, you can contact our road manager.
All right, simply just a name change, is that what
Correct,
you're
yeah.
proposing? Yeah, I don't have any problem with that. I'll second that. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Overland, aye.
Bakhtiari, aye.
Cronin, aye.
All right. That's it, Brooke?
That's it. Yeah, thank you.
Zoning update.
I'll just kind of touch base too on the ramp, the boat ramp. Made some contact with them, and I think some of the information we've had in emails and such, that Idlewise and Ray and Marges would be more than willing to take that, the boat. That is something they found out about in the last week.
Ah,
And they're both willing to do it during the week, not on the weekends, just because their numbers are high during that. So we're going to be very limited during this. Another thing they discussed on the day we met with them Monday morning was that this could be up till Labor Day. They project that. So as of today, the whole project was shut down. There was no progress at all today. And like they said, they could have left the boat ramp in because at least through this weekend, but obviously we talked to them that morning and it was gone later that afternoon. So as of today, there was nobody on site. I was not in town yesterday, so I'm not sure if they were there, but it is cleaned up, waiting for the next step in the process. So just some information on that. I do have the plans here if anyone would like to look at them of the projected project. I did get that from the Moose Lake office there. As far as zoning, we had 8 permits last month. I issued 1 emergency permit because of the high amount of rain. We had a hill let loose and crush in a sidewall of a basement. So they've got that shored up now, and currently we're going to work with them on an needed no basis as quick as it is. So they're gonna end up probably putting in a new septic tank and everything, so no issue or no permit has been issued for any specific work. It's gonna be kind of on the fly as we need it. And we'll see what is needed to get that completed. So, and that is on Sturgeon Island. So if there's any question you can ask me about that. The blights I've been working on, I've been getting good response on individuals. They are willing to do it, but money is an issue on all of them. Just maybe for consideration, I don't know if there's options for the township to front that money and take it on a tax base if they were willing to do that. If we could drop maybe a legal contract of some type over a 5-year period, maybe get it back. Most people want to keep their property, they have no means to take care of the removal. Most of them are the larger trailer houses that are somewhere between $4,000 to $6,000 to remove and dispose of. So some consideration there.
Are they empty?
Most are empty with trees through the roofs. So they're, one gal said she hasn't been on her property since 2005. It's been forfeited, tagged, and cleared of forfeiture, and no one has been here since 2005. So some options there moving forward. The second is sometimes I'm getting some projects that people build with without a permit. When it's brought up, they just continue and they're just waiting on the fine. Guess I'm looking for some guidance moving forward if we're gonna have those items removed at their cost. Is there a penalty more than triple the building permit? Because the attitude is right now, we'll just do it and pay triple the fine and it's done, and we'll build wherever we want, how we want. And that happens to be certain individuals within the township that feel privileged. So I have brought that up with Tony and Heidi, and I have talked about those, and I have certainly run into those issues as of today, one of them. So just look for some guidance. Do we want to get a little stronger on that, or?
We apparently don't have anything in our ordinance at this time directly addressing that, other than the triple fine.
The triple fine, yeah. And I mean, one of them is on the shore, Lakeland, right in between. It's a gazebo. I spoke with the individuals, and I said that we do allow some lake houses, shelter storage units there. I put a little difference in a shelter versus a gazebo, because we have items in the shed that if it gets hit, no big deal. But the gazebo is something that folks sit under, and they're 6 feet off the road at this point. So we could have an issue, especially with small kids and such. So just looking for some guidance on that moving forward.
Is that, would need some help from planning commission, zoning, whoever. What part of the zoning can we change without I mean, there's quite a process to change the zoning. It has to be published and all of that, but fine itself, I wonder if that can be done by the board.
What is the fine right now?
Without going through the entire process?
Well, say a lake accessory house, the permit's $65. So if they built one in violation, it'd be $185. Do we force them to remove it, start the process over, triple bill and such? I mean, those are some things that have to be addressed. And then if we go by the rules, basically there would be no building on that whole South Shore, because there just isn't a setback there for most of it. We do allow it. We do allow the lake accessory houses, or whatever you would like to refer to them as, but I did kind of take issue with the gazebo. strictly for a safety point of view.
I'm not, I guess I'd have to look into more what you're saying. So what's the difference? So even though an accessory wouldn't meet the setback requirements because it's an accessory building, we would allow it, but because it's a gazebo, we wouldn't?
Basically, yes. The lake accessory houses can be closer than, say, a structure or a resident or a garage.
Because of people being in it, in its proximity to the road.
That's my
your-
opinion on,
Yeah.
that's why I take offense to the gazebo versus that. And that's why I'm asking for guidance.
So how did Dennis view that in the past to try to be consistent with what he has been building up for a few years? How would he have interpreted that? Did you ask his opinion on that?
The one we dealt with was, he considered it a pre-existing pad and allowed them to build on it in violation of our setbacks.
Because it was a pre-existing pad and it was grandfathered in?
That was his interpretation.
But this
What-
one is.
This one is a brand-new gazebo that doesn't fit the setbacks. And personally, I my conversation with the people was that it is a gazebo because it would be people sitting under there and such. It was different than I would have like a storage shed for my kayak and life jacket.
Could you build a storage shed, which is a structure within the setback, within shoreline?
You can build a structure, but not, yes. I guess I misunderstand your question.
I'm not understanding, what's the difference between a gazebo and a shed?
The use.
So
People.
we allow, well, people go in a shed too. They don't necessarily sit there per se, but they go into a shed, so I'm not understanding. So our ordinance delineates between a shed and a gazebo. They'll allow you to build a shed that wasn't there before, but you can't build something that you're gonna be sitting in. Is that correct?
Our ordinance, I don't believe, allows us to build anything in violation of those setbacks.
Then what are we doing?
We've allowed it.
When? Has it been allowed since Dennis started? I'm gonna start with him because that's all I got.
Yes.
And so we have cases and, so anyway, so what I do, how I think, forgive me, this is gonna take way too much time for tonight. I would need to see what cases we've allowed it and why, before I could give you a definitive answer of either telling them to remove the gazebo or not. I need to see what precedences that we've set in the past, and I don't have that.
Okay.
I can't give you that.
Okay, for tonight's question then, this gazebo was built without a permit.
Right?
Do I have them remove it or allow it to stay until they follow the permit? That's the question for the board tonight.
The question back to you is, have we allowed someone to build a shed or another structure within the shoreland and allow them to leave it?
Under permit, yes. This one is not under permit,
And we allowed it to be permitted because why?
because that is the way I was informed.
That's not enough, I can't give you an answer then. That's not a good answer.
Okay, so my question is, it's not under permit. It was not discussed with the zoning,
Okay,
myself or Dennis.
right.
So at this point, do we leave it stay or do we have it removed until we figure out an answer?
They removed the structure because it's not a permanent, and we wouldn't permit it to begin with.
Very good,
Yep,
thank you.
Yeah, my philosophy is that if you build something without a permit, that structure doesn't exist. So, and if you do it, you have to remove it. And then you apply for the permit. And that's another thing that I have issue with, and I've been going on and on, same as liquor license. Our permits are, people for years, they think that, they don't even come to the town hall. They just go in and build whatever they want, just say, okay, find me. When you say $180, I'd rather build a gazebo right next to the water and pay you $180 instead of going through the permitting and variance and this and that, well, that's what has to stop. So if you build something without a permit, tear it down. It's gotta be moved.
My question is do we have that right within our zoning ordinance? Our ordinance does state that, correct?
to remove the structure?
Right.
We've done it in the past, and we've been
Yeah.
they might sue us.
That's fine. So, right, absolutely. Then, if it's in our ordinance, then absolutely.
And my understanding is that it's not a gazebo, it's kind of like a pergola on the south side. No, I'm not picking
No,
on you.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the guy knew it. He told you, he said, yeah, I'm not supposed to be doing this, or he was kind of,
And had the other one been correct in where it should have been by setbacks, it wouldn't have been hit by a car that came around the corner and went off the road. So we do have some, and that, the issue is down between Idlewise and Ray and Marges, very narrow, cars move by there, there's some dead corners as far as sight goes, so. It's based on safety and just,
I think it's really important though for consistency, whether it's, because it really irks me about the shed versus a pergola, I don't care what it is. If it's a structure that wasn't there before, there wasn't a foundation, there wasn't anything grandfathered in, I don't see the difference between a shed frankly and a gazebo. They're both structures too close to the shoreline, so
and I
that
have,
There
worries
is a
me.
difference.
the ones that I have issued, it was a pre-existing
That's fine.
location, and they are behind trees, so there is a safety issue. There are old growth trees that they're placing it behind, just on a safety issue, and it's not, and I'm looking for guidance moving forward, because obviously there's some corrections we're gonna make to our
Yeah.
zoning, so,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right.
one last thing that I was just gonna say, I wanted to thank you that as far as managing the blights, this is the best ever
Yes.
somebody has, come up with, and I've seen your work and and your due diligence, so I really appreciate what you're doing.
Oh, just a brief comment, as a planning commission member.
Sure.
And just Vern is the only other one on the planning commission that's here. Over my history, about 5 years on the planning commission, 2 different stints, there is a tremendous number of accessory structures, or what used to be called board houses, that put on the south end of Sturgeon Lake and other parts of Sturgeon Lake and Sand Lake. And so often they came to the Board of Adjustment, and some of the members of the Board of Adjustment were all part of the Planning Commission too, but some may not have been there, some were there and served with me. But so often we approved a bigger accessory structure. That's not a gazebo, that's not a tiki shed, this is just, we approved them. And I felt we shouldn't have, and there are other members that we should not do that. And since then, we've heard from the DNR informally that all of the habitat on the south end of Sturgeon Lake has been destroyed because we have so much water coming off roofs and dumping down on the shore. And that's why we have a limit to the amount of coverage you can have with impervious surfaces. So I think we made some big mistakes on that, and I wish the Planning Commission, the Board of Adjustment would study that, and the board would give feedback too, and saying, why do we, if we have ordinances, let's follow the ordinance, and not every time an adjustment comes in, you can only have 150 square feet or 200 feet, we'll give you 250 or 275. In some of those houses on the south end of the lake, the accessory houses, they are big. And, the state now mandating shoreline ordinance, they'd never allow it. It's no longer going to be possible, so it's time to have an inflection point in standing by these, and not interpreting policy, but having policy that's absolutely interpreted by reading it. Thank you.
And the complaint that I had about like those campers, at the beginning, none of them, they just put it there. As far as I'm concerned, campers are temporary structure, they're not permanent. So you bring them in during the day, you take them home at night. Those, sit there year round, and, they're building 3-season porch right next to it, and decks and so forth. Just like, are they paying taxes for those? So those are another stuff that, I've been bringing it up, so it just, we never got to anywhere. We just keep tabling it. I like some sort of action, so, and I know you're the man to do it, so I appreciate that.
Scott, anything else you have?
No, that's it, sir.
Brittany, would you like to make any comment?
Hello, everyone. I'm Brittany Stanfar here. I'm the new Township Coordinator. I started this job on Monday, July 8th, so today is day 4. I'd love to meet with anyone and everyone in the township and get your ideas and opinions on what you would like to see the township coordinator do and help with and improve on. I met with most everyone at this table, but I want to meet with everyone not at this table. So the office is right across the street, 316 Elm Avenue. Cell phone's on the website, but I can give it to you too. That's the office phone, so it will be on me at all times. Call at any time. Let me know how I can help. Yeah, I have a 2-year-old, so maybe, let's cut it off at like 8 p.m.
And then also the email address of coordinator@Windemere Township. So we have treasurer, clerk, and now coordinator at Windemere Township. So thank you and welcome. Glad to have you on board. All right, anything from Planning Commission? Paul, did you have anything on Planning
No,
Commission?
nothing else, thank you.
All right, Fire District?
Windemere had 12 calls, 7 were medical, 1 false alarm, 1 gas leak, 1 motor vehicle accident, no injuries, 1 motor vehicle accident with injuries, 1 vehicle on fire, and they also gave me the 2023 year-end audited financial report, so that I have it with me. And they also have their steak fry on Saturday. That's pretty much like fundraising, so anybody that could attend, I'm sure they appreciate it. It's first come, first served, so they do a good job. They even ask, I wouldn't have done it, just they ask everybody, how do you want your steak cooked? 200, 300, I don't know, maybe 400 people they serve. So it's a pretty good deal, so please support them.
Everything from barely touch to burn it black.
Yeah, and they do serve it that way too.
Yeah, very good. All right, review the claims.
Okay, I'd like to start out with the claims that we have a new account, at the bank with the savings account. So I'll pass that to the 3 supervisors and Cindy that need that signature. And then I want to explain the manifest on the claims report now that we're using for the last 2 months. And I just want to say, this is the way it works. We're disclosing on this the complete claim, which means what account it got charged to. So if it got charged to more than one account, sometimes we get a charge from you officials too, and say, here, this is my salary or my fee, and then here's my travel or training or something else. So there is one, you've already sent this to you. I sent you a complete copy, so you all have had that. So this is the original. This will be copied by the coordinator and sent to me, and a copy to Cindy, and the original will be in a file, in a booklet in the office. So
that's the one we need to sign.
And this is the one you need to sign. But this is only one. Up in the corner it says O for original. So don't mess it up. So the first signature is to authenticate. This is what the clerk has to do. Authenticate that she's saying these are legitimate claims. So Cindy will sign and then she'll pass it to you. Thank you. You should sign first. Don't sign it until Cindy signs it.
Or do we sign after we've actually
No.
reviewed the claims?
Yeah, I need to review the claims because there's a claim in here that.
Well, review whatever claims you want.
Yep, and we'll sign it later.
Yep, good. Just so you know, but Cindy's first on that. Okay, the claims. Here's the claim book. Tell me when you're ready for the checks. Yeah, that's it.
All those are checks that we need. Isn't that an original check that we got?
Yeah, the checks.
That's what we got in the mail yesterday.
No, you gave it to me on Saturday, Sunday.
Wasn't that for a permit?
It's for a permit, isn't there a permit?
That's what I'm assuming. That
There's 2
permits.
permits, 2 checks and 2 permits.
driveways?
Yeah, but I have no idea
Yeah,
what.
they just went around you. Just said it.
All right.
They went to the website, printed it out, paid for it.
It has no description of what they did though.
Yeah, you'll have, so,
There's plans there, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Give them a call in the morning then.
Is it some yours?
Yeah.
Scott, good job on the claims.
Oh, thank
So
you.
it's good, yeah.
That's my job. I'm just a pass-through. Thank you.
She's going to, and she's paying for it. Does anyone know what the 44E, 45E, that means?
On the roads, Vern,
Yeah.
do you know what the 44E, 45E, that kind of thing with these road names is? Who's that one?
Are they numbered?
Kaminsky?
Yeah, the roads are numbered for my purposes, and that was my spreadsheet, which is reflected on the road report,
On the one
which
that
is
was
online,
finished.
yeah. All, again, all the road reports, all of my work is on our website. So it all can be referenced, it's on there, updated every month. And I went back in history and I can't find anything like that from historically, but it's on there now.
Because it was new backup. Yeah. I don't have any of this. So it's not this board.
So now it's there?
Yes.
No.
the account numbers were signed, the account numbers were signed on the document I sent you.
They're watching.
I know.
Jerry took the tag.
Yeah,
Backup.
yeah, you're supposed to get it.
Because I only brought pencil with me.
QuickBooks is the treasurer.
No,
No, I didn't
this is
order it.
okay. I just let
You did.
Just sign something.
I'm not in the road, it's automatic.
It always gets from Ron, so you
Oh, yeah.
tell me. You
Okay,
tell me.
okay.
Looks like some boring.
I charged it to the right account.
Oh, yep,
Well, not
exactly.
yeah.
Their project back here,
That
they
was
gotta
a-
get a
that's an
permit, so
automatic
they
renewal.
sent in the money.
Oh, so they
But there
need
should be a-
Nope, it's all taken care of through MSA.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's just a.
Yeah, we gotta kind of figure out our.
This, my opinion,
It's gotta be.
Okay.
yeah, it was all, that was all Ron.
It's gotta be on there.
Yeah, Ron, I have Ron, where he's sending it.
Okay.
Is this after the fact?
I'll send it on.
No,
That's all good.
Let's sit down and figure out how they're gonna do this. Okay, because so it's, the clerk can get it recorded correctly. Perfect. If you have these line items.
So
Just hold it and we can talk.
I know.
Good enough.
Doesn't take
Thanks.
Everyone else can do it.
If Sanders doing it, she should have an address, so they can put in.
There's a few new ones that haven't been set up yet.
They're on the plates.
Yeah, that's what we'll go through.
So this has the updated invoices that actually, no?
No, I have it here, did you take it?
You can't?
I have them here.
That's not eating.
So
So this has to go with this. And I can sign off on it. Otherwise I will not.
Maybe we'll come take our picture. Next time I want to see you. Back in September. 4 movies out from my graduation. That's believable. No. You'll end up going there. That's what'll happen. Yeah, that's Where's everybody? I'm waiting. They're closed.
Yeah, I'm gonna present the info tomorrow. Yeah, Kayla.
I'm gonna order a new nameplate.
Yeah, she's the one who drives me.
Maybe we wait.
Yeah, she's my neighbor. She's.
That was when she was living here.
Yes, I was, but she's so. I gotta meet this chick.
Yeah.
No, she could probably.
You send me exactly what you want, the address, email.
Yeah, let's look at it.
What is this? Wait, do you see that?
At this point, I don't see any.
I'm back to sign up, so that needs to be more detailed. I don't know. Anything else? Is that everything?
Investment returns, the day. Oh, gee. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry about that. No,
It's kind of like Oregon.
I get A on all the time, it's there every time.
So there you go.
I get
So are you
that.
okay with?
Okay.
You see what the charges are?
I
will make sure that I get them.
Then I'll make sure, I'll sign up.
There was, that's what it
Okay.
Yeah. It's hiding and sending the worst possible thing is this credit card. I hate it because it's extra book. It takes me, minutes to go through there. I gotta figure out, okay, what account is this? Who charged this? And I'm gonna send an email. Send me the receipt. Send me the script. When did you authorize it? And
Then how do
really,
you have the flexibility, because sometimes you need a quick purchase, that's
I know.
the remedy.
And she was, hired as the.
I'm selfish. There's so many moving parts. I swear, if I had 2 hours of your time, you'd say, holy Moses.
No, I know there is, because I mean,
Yeah, it's just so much. So yes, no, it's selfish, yeah. Well, yeah, it's not, hey, if you're in office and you're a full-time employee and it's one of the things you have to do for an hour a day, no big deal. But to me, part of it is, oh crap, because I don't want to. I've got 6 people that say no, and they could just as well be sitting here. But no, there's no better idea. There is probably no better idea unless, but let's say, it's a road guy, housing guy needs a certificate, or Brittany needs one. And they're responsible to turn in the expense, and they have the receipts because they charge. That's, I think so too. Yeah. But there is so many things administrative. But part of our secret weapon is right here. You know, as soon as we turn her loose, everything.
Secret weapon.
Are we done yet?
I need a summary for the, to get the, make the motion.
The only concern that I have is, I can't remember his last name, but for the partial bridge construction,
Okay.
I want that invoice for $17,000 more specific for what he did for that partial amount. Before I will sign off on that, I think before we pay that, what did you do for $17,000?
Vern, do you know what, why it says partial like that?
Partial payment.
That was, remember, we did the, we had the quote on it.
Yeah.
But then attach the quote to the invoice so I can see what we are paying him $17,000 for. Because that is not, I don't want to, well, you remember what I want it attached to the invoice so that it's clear.
Well, Cindy has a copy of the quote.
I haven't done anything
Sure.
except what's on the sheet.
I won't sign it until, I won't approve it until it's got the information that I need associated with why we're paying him $17,000. Nothing against his work, I just want to make sure it's documented.
Well, I think the original, I believe the original quote, thank you.
33,000, I believe.
Was what?
I believe it was 33,000.
That's what I thought,
Yeah.
yeah.
Then attach, then staple that to what the $17,000 is, because that is not enough information for me to sign off on that invoice.
All right. I'm not sure I agree with that. So for tonight, direct deposit 1680 through 1686, 19 checks in the number 13603 and 13606 through 13623. EFTs number 241517. Do we have a motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
I'll second that. All in favor, aye. Overland, aye.
Bakhtiari, aye.
Cronin will approve all expenses except for Robert Kanowski's invoice for $17,000 until there's more information detailing what the $17,000 partial payment is for.
All right, motion
Okay,
carries.
here's, Chairman,
Yes.
if one of you declines, that's fine, but we have to run the township, we have to pay the bills. If the vote is 2-1 to approve, that's fine. But we can't go about this à la carte. You know, either you're ordering the claims manifest, the claims, or not. But if two of you say I can't sign off, well, then we're not gonna pay anybody. Yeah, that's fine. But if it's 2-1, that's fine. Heidi doesn't have the power to hold this up, nor do you, Al, or nor do you, Tony. I mean, but we've gotta get on with the business or not.
All right. We had to go through it. Yes. All right.
Okay,
Mail?
and then we've got one more. We
Oh.
got one more. Please sign the.
I haven't
passed the
signed that
manifest around.
manifest yet.
They did not.
So Al, we did not vote on that motion.
Oh, we did. I'm sorry. All right.
We were at discussion.
Oh, hang on, sorry, could you add one to it? I've got one more manifest. Full-time salaried employee payroll, I'm passing that down. This is set up on, you agreed to semi-monthly payroll to
Right.
Tiffany, so I'm passing
Brittany.
down I'm sorry. Did I say?
Brittany.
You make a good
I
Tiffany.
said Brittany. I keep thinking of some
Make it
Tiffany.
better, Brittany, but.
Yeah, there you go.
And I want to assure you, I have no Tiffany in my background either, but I
It's stormy.
Yeah, okay, so here. That's that now.
Okay, so all in favor of the motion to pay the bills, say aye. Overland, aye.
Bakhtiari, aye.
Cronin, no.
Hate this pen. Always hate this pen. Who's the boy that's that? One of the days. Who's chairman? All right. Okay. Right? Oh, that's very good. And it back. Yes, I see. Okay.
Dennis gave me a bunch of password. She ran up here, the rest, the history.
Here you go.
Yeah, you can go anywhere. That's like,
No, let's see. Is this a- So, are you,
There.
Want to do? Okay. Yeah, and now you're done with that as of August 1st. Okay, and you're done making copies, right? Because that's what we're gonna be, we're gonna be.
I guess we'll send an ambulance just as a.
Could you pull out that, claims message? Yeah, we're gonna get it.
It's all gonna be, I will answer the phone, because I can do that.
Just the count on that?
Okay. What is this have to do with?
Okay, this, I don't know. We got a-
That's what it's about.
they can see everything. Here.
I go through and make sure everything is correct.
I sent them to you on Tuesday.
I didn't see
Okay,
these
okay,
compared to
okay,
this.
I'm sorry about that.
No.
I could have pulled it up.
I compare this to this to make sure they're all correct before I send the check out or before I send the.
This will go to the office. I'm gonna get a copy. Tracy's gonna get a copy, and then we'll send the original. You can come in and sign it. Just use the one. It's the same.
Okay, so the last email has got all this
All
on
of
it.
it, yeah. Got all of it.
And partial.
Yeah.
I'll look.
And I'm like, whatever, yes, we are.
Lori Patrick, this is Nicholas.
She's just wants, yeah, she just wants us to encourage us to inspect the outlet twice a year. And the township would remove any debris, including sediment.
This is a Beckman issue.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I seen the survey the other day,
Yeah.
right by the Sturgeon Rush Association.
So,
That goes to him.
This is the original.
We're good for her to see.
Okay, so, and then you could,
Vern, I don't know.
some competitive pricing.
What's that? I don't know if that's anything you
No,
want to look
this is,
at.
this is the one, you check on that one?
So I guess this was to us personally. So, agenda.
That was it for the mail?
I think that was it for the mail.
What's the one letter? Yeah.
The one letter was addressed to, one to me and one to Tony. All right, any other business at this time? Rory, you come here for these meetings. Are you compensated anyway for doing this?
I have been, I'm not sure about the last one, but prior to that, yes.
Okay, do you submit a claim?
I haven't.
Okay. Board, what is, we have this service of this going out. Rory, help me out here for anybody that is, well, there aren't many here yet, but if somebody wants to listen to the meeting, correct?
Well, it's actually video.
They could watch it.
The sound's with the video, so I'll take and render it, and then wherever you want it posted, you know, if you have Facebook, if you have a website, wherever, I mean, I would upload it to YouTube. So that would be the host, and then whatever that link is can be applied to wherever you want to put it.
But I thought you were saying that if you went on Moose Lake Public
So
Access
that's for
Channel 7.
that's for the live stream. So anybody that's on right now, it's still live.
So is that live audio or live video?
Audio and video.
Audio and video.
So when we put the message out there now saying that, you know, it's at this time here, then we should put a link to that so people can watch it online.
Right. So if you guys publish where it is on our Channel 7, Moose Lake Public Access Channel 7, that also goes to the MediaCom people that have cable television, but it also has a mirror station online that mirrors what the two channels. We have Channel 7 and Channel 18. Most of the government stuff And live stuff is always on Channel 7, and the 18 is mostly pre-recorded.
So this would have been actually an upgrade to what our Zoom would be.
Yeah, right.
It really would be, yeah. I mean, it's always been, so the ones that we've plugged into, now and then have, we don't separate the audio, so I mean, we always have the video. So I think some of your, the bigger meetings or whatever that we've had have had both. We had a little glitch the last meeting. I wasn't here during the meeting, and the little plug for the camera came out, so I was relying on battery and it ran out part way. Now, if she's got, I think she recorded audio last time, so if she's got the audio, I can merge that onto the video portion and still have archived, at least video for, I think it lasted 2 hours maybe, so the last portion we can add the audio if that's something that you want to have, for archiving. I don't know what you've been doing archive wise.
I don't know. Personally, I'm more concerned, or would be more interested in, I should say, concerned wouldn't be the right word, that for those who really missed our Zoom, that we could put that out when we post for our next meeting.
Yeah, I mean, it's just,
that's how they could watch.
exactly, yep, and we do that all, I mean, that's what we do with our council meetings for the city too, so it's kind of a dual fold, like I say, anybody that's got MediaCom can see it right live there, but the companion part that's online is open to anybody. If they've got the web address, it's there.
Very good.
Mr. Chairman, in the past, we compensated Rory $100 for his service. Is that still the same price?
Yeah, I mean, I never set a price, so whatever.
Yeah. So if $100, is that?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. Would you want to make that a motion?
I'll make a motion to pay Mr. Rory $100 for his services.
What's his last name? I will second that.
I always tell everybody it's just like it spelled.
That's right.
They look at me like.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor to pay Rory $100 per meeting for his services of setting up audio, video, and getting this put out across the airwaves. All in favor say aye. Overland, aye.
Bakhtiari, aye.
Cronin, aye.
All right.
And Al, did you second that?
Yes.
Did I?
Nobody
Yeah,
seconded?
yes, I did.
Yes, you did?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't ask me what I've done.
I missed it, sorry.
All right, any other business? If not, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I like it.
We'll second that. All in favor, aye. Overland, aye.
Bakhtiari, aye.
Cronin, aye.
Thank you all for coming. See you next month.